Hey everybody, it's Carl here, and just going to do a little video about making up tunes, which is one of the favorite things I often do. I love just kind of experimenting with little phrases, melodic snippets, you might call them. And I thought I would play a tune. Last night I got to thinking about doing this video and got out my old Mandola. This 1915 beautiful blackface Gibson Mandola that Aaron gave me a while back, a wonderful gift, and I treasure it. And I need to play it more, so it's inspiring to think about making up a tune on it. So the tune, the way I kind of started was with I had a little phrase. There's all kind of ways to start. Of course, the most important part is to start. You just got to say, I'm going to make up something, and you get out the instrument or start noodling around with words, whatever you might be writing, some prose or poetry on an instrument. Often it's just you can think of a chord progression. So the way I started last night was just, I had one little phrase. I was thinking I picked the key, which was a good start because the mandola is really nice in the key of C, which is like on a mandolin would be G. So the key of C is that's your lowest note, a beautiful thing. Nice resonant bass you can have there. And so the first little phrase, I kind of went up to this little, that was a phrase I said, I like that, so I started with that as my little nucleus for the first part. And then really that was, the chord would be going from a 1 to a 4 progression, like a C to an F. Okay? And I guess what I'll do is just play the chords that kind of came from the little noodling of the melody there. So that was my first little phrase. And I went. And again, chord-wise, that first little phrase would be a 1 chord to a 4 chord, back to the 1, and then a 5 chord. Pretty simple and straightforward. So that was the first 4 chord, 1, 5 chord. Then I, for some reason, decided to go to set up another little different phrase, working at it. So I decided to go to a minor chord, A minor. And of course, we're in the key of C, so that would be the 6th, the relative minor, you might call it, to the F for 4, and then a little held to hold on. So it was over a course of about an hour or so, I started noodling with chords and the melody. So the whole first part, melody-wise, that came out. And also, I like to start thinking about a title, if anything comes into mind. And what came to mind pretty quick for some reason was When Things Return. And it could be, I like to think good things. And of course, there's all kind of things that come to mind when you think about things coming back to you, So When Things Return was the title I kind of had in mind as I made up the melody. So that was kind of nice too. It kind of sets up an atmosphere maybe. So here's the first part, melody. And I have a first and second ending. So chord-wise is this right here. I'll do the chords first. 1 to 4 and the 1 to 5. So nice and simple. And then I throw that minor for a little difference to the 4 and hold on to the 4 for splitting the measure. So what goes with that was this. There's that 5 chord. And notice there I had a little phrase. I did one phrase. And I kind of copied that little the same kind of phrasing there. So that little fourth, opening notes with the 4th and 5th fret bouncing back. So that's the first time through. The second time around, what I did chord-wise, it goes to the minor again. But what I decided to do was go to a little minor ending to lead to the second part. So chord-wise, the second ending is that same, starts the same way. Then it has a 1 to 5. And ends on the A minor, so it's kind of a nice, a little evocative there. And maybe when things return, maybe they haven't returned quite yet. Your brain starts just taking off on tangents, which is good. And just let your instrument kind of take off on tangents too as you're making up stuff. I tried a lot of things. At first, I was going to make up a waltz. I said, well, maybe a waltz would be nice. And I experimented for a few minutes, and it just didn't seem to be what the mandola wanted to do. Sometimes the instrument can tell you things too. Waltzes are beautiful. I will make a nice waltz on the mandola one day, but it wasn't. Last night was not the time to do it. It didn't seem like so. I said, well, a little more bounce, a little more of a notey tune, and the title kind of came with that first phrase, which is pretty cool. So, and what I'll do is put in the PDF of the music that I kind of came up with, and the chord chart. So you could look at this and try it on different instruments, fiddle or something might be nice on the fiddle, or just look at how the structure is. It's great to be able to make a chord chart if you haven't ever done that. You can look at my chord chart, and I just do it in a text table and put them in there. And of course with Microsoft Word, you can do it really easy. You can make charts and grids and everything. So anyway, whatever you have, of course, a piece of paper and a pencil is still as good. It's a little low tech, but sometimes low tech is the best way. So it's great to be able to make a chord chart. So the second ending, melody-wise, is going to be that, and it kind of does that again. So it just goes back. Then I'm going to go to the second part. Go to another phrase there. So I'm going to play the whole first part with both endings, and then we'll get into the second part a little bit there. So when things return in the key of C, just a little tune I kind of let the mandola put out into the cosmos last night there. And it's great to pick this thing, and it really is a nice instrument. You can see it's a beautiful, beautiful instrument. It has a lovely sound. So here's the first part anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4. First inning starting over. Oh, sorry. There you go. Here's the chords of the second part. Got a little 2 chord in there. Back to the first theme with a little more final ending before you start over. That minor comes back. You hold on to that for a while. So the chords make a lot of sense, and something you do when you get a chord chart, if you hadn't even got the melody going good, if you got chords you like, you can start noodling with the chords. Just on that. I had these. Not even thinking about it, but you start to put a little melodic enhancement into your chord shapes. So those chords, you can kind of start to let melodies happen there. So start putting a little up and down gravity. Let the gravity kind of take over and see what happens. So here's the second part I came up with melody-wise. And it was working. It got a little theme here. This a little bit of a back and forth kind of thing. There's your F to B flat, and then I kind of copied that with the next chord change, which is just a C and a G. Yeah. So the second phrase, I kind of copied that pattern with a. So the first phrase, and some slides are always good. You can. And then I went ahead and went to the 2 chord, which is a nice D chord, and we copied that phrase again, sort of. A little bit of an echo of that. And then this is where I thought about the title, When Things Return. This is where I want to feel like there was a climb and a return to the first theme, or back where you used to be, or whatever your mindset is there. Everybody's going to have a little different way they think about it, if they think about it at all. So I did this a little climb. And you arrive back there, at the first theme there. And this is still kind of finishing the second part with a reprise of the first. So here's the second part. And at that point, we go through that same theme, the initial theme. And at the very end, I do a little more final ending, which is sort of like this, coming out of that minor part. Final ending. A little more finalized thing there, and then you're starting over. So you really kind of have 3 little ending motifs there. So here's the second part, the whole melody for a second here. 1, 2, 3, here. 2 chords. Return. First theme. And for a final, to really finalize it, I might stay there and do the same kind of theme, same chords. That maybe a different climb up or something like a. So what would be like a first one? Maybe that same. Some kind of you dabble with that a little bit. You say, well, I want to do it again, but do something different. Just start making around. Say I'm doing a tag, an ending like on a square dance. Just do about 5 or 6 different ways. And you could always go up higher. So you just start noodling and say, and then one of them hopefully say, oh, that's it, or you might say, well, no, I don't like any of those. I'll maybe come back to that later. So anyway, what I'm gonna do one last time is play the chords one time and then the melody, and then we'll just anyway, it's just when things return, and I hope this just inspires you to think about a little melodic motif. Might be the diving board to take off and jump into the pool of a new melody, or just a chord change. One chord change can make you start getting ideas, and especially if you get the chords you like, start noodling with those chords a little bit, and the melody's gonna, the melodies comes out of the scales and the chords, so they all start bouncing around, ping-ponging around, and you get them in the percolator, and then you just let it roll out onto the mandola or whatever instrument you're playing there. So here's the chords to the first part, and I'll play the melody, then I'll play the chords to the second part and play the melody and see how that sounds. So 1, 2, 3, go. Noodling there. Let's see, second part's coming up right here. I'm going to do the chords. You might tag that. So there's the chords, and here's the melody, kind of slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I made up a different ending there, and I was in and out of some of that melody, but you got the general gist of it. And just keep in mind that a melody you make up is a living kind of thing. It's going to maybe change itself as you play it more and more, and you'll find phrases you like, or maybe modify and you like them better. So it's kind of a living, breathing thing when you make up a tune, especially when other people start playing it. It's going to change and morph and turn into all kind of neat things, and everybody enjoys it and expresses it in different ways. So when things return, and I like to believe a lot of things are returning to in a good way, and I send this out to you. Hope you are excited about maybe making up a melody, or just thinking about being creative in any ways that strike your fancy. So enjoy music, and I wish you all the best. Thanks.